please welcome the founder of Picnic, Joris Beckers.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be here. Who knows what Picnic is? There are very few hands, I'd imagine. I can't see it perfectly well, but so Picnic is a new online supermarket. Just exists for 2 years, operating a completely new model, never done before, and we're world famous in Holland. That's what we are. So let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I stumbled into the internet world around about 1999, when Amazon was still a little bookstore, and somebody else, not me, thought maybe you can do a toy store as well, and he set up eToys. And eToys needed some software to operate their website, needed people. I did some software for that website, and out of that came a company called Fredhopper that became a software company supplying to, let's say, online retailers around the world. We did that for about 10 years, sort of growing up with online retail in the online retail sector. Books, CDs, videos, fashion, electronics, all sorts of categories we saw come online and people massively buying online. And in 2010, I sold Fredhopper and I was wondering what to do next. And there were two major observations that I was intrigued with. One was that many people are buying many things online. So on average, in the, let's say, Western world, in the US and here in Europe, about 25% of what's called the non-food retail sector, so all these sectors that I just mentioned, is bought online. Yet in food, it's 1%. At the same time, the food market is as large as all the other markets combined. So it's a super large market that touches many, many people's lives, yet it's totally not online yet. There's examples in the UK, obviously, and in New York, and in France, and there's pockets of success around the world, but not at the same scale as it is in fashion or electronics or travel or what have you. So that was the basis for us to start looking into this. And when we started looking into food, I started to look at the self-service supermarket model. The self-service supermarket model is probably the most successful retail format that was ever invented. It works everywhere, in every country. It's the most efficient way to transport and sell food items, items of low value, from producers to consumers. At the same time, it's a remarkable model too, because somehow we managed to train and learn people to come to their nearby shop, get into a little warehouse, if you want, 3 times a week or 2 times a week, walk through a sort of labyrinth all the time, every time again, and be your order picker and queue up in line and pay and drive all the stuff back with your own car. Now, a very, very efficient system, but still it's remarkable. What's even more remarkable is the self-service supermarket model was first invented around about in the 1970. And really, if you look at it today, we're still doing our groceries in much the same way as we were doing it then. There's not been any meaningful innovation in that. Obviously, it's improvements, there's no meaningful innovation. So we looked at this outside in. So we have a slightly different view than people who are inside the system and look at the self-service supermarket model and thought, okay, if you are starting to do something online, then obviously you provide more service, so it needs to be more expensive. We had a slightly different type logic. And we dug also a little bit deeper into the food market, and you see that while the self-service supermarket model is great in many ways, it also has its limitations or disadvantages, if you want. It's, in a sense, a predictive supply chain. So every supermarket will have to predict how many bread it will send to this specific store tomorrow. And obviously, that prediction can never, ever be perfect, and all of what's not perfect is thrown away, which leads to pretty massive amount of food waste. And as I said, since we all eat and we all go to these shops and we all take our cars to go to these shops, there's an enormous amount of what they call food miles of people traveling to those stores. It's not necessarily a great feature of the model either. Not to speak of all the time. Every consumer spends every week, it's almost an hour or so, doing this kind of work to get the household filled with the stuff you need, the everyday stuff you need to operate the household. Now, we had ourselves inspired by a slightly different model than most others. We thought there was such a thing long before there were supermarkets, namely the milkmen. And many countries around the world, or I think all countries around the world, had some form or shape of milkmen. And milkmen were highly appreciated services. Now they had a small assortment. They had milk, butter, and a few other things. But in essence, it was a wonderful model that came to people's home and delivered the stuff. The second advantage that we had is that we had a blank sheet of paper. We had no legacy, so we could start on a blank sheet of paper. So first, we cut out all the stores. This sounds very obvious. Many people try and do that, but that's obviously a huge change versus traditional model because the amount of real estate and cost involved in all these stores and distribution centers is enormous. And from this, we designed a much simpler system with today's kind of technology, mobile technology. So we have a new milkman, and the new milkman brings all your groceries for the lowest price free to your door. And how does it do that? It does that because all the consumers only have a mobile phone, so you can only order with us with a mobile phone. With a milkman, you used to have a little booklet you could write down. With this, the phone, and obviously in the phone, there's the whole range of the supermarket, not just the milk and the butter, etc. And we designed an entirely new distribution system. So we designed vehicles from the ground up, much like Tesla designed vehicles from the ground up. We designed, you'll see it in a second, a small, elegant, efficient delivery vehicles for in neighborhoods. It's fully electric too. And it drives a different route. It comes every day at a fixed time to your door. So Monday 4, Tuesday 5 o'clock, Wednesday 6 o'clock, or whatever the schedule is for your neighborhood. Every day again, you can count on it. It is also up until the minute precise. There's no slot like you can sort of order it comes between 8 and 10 or something like that. It tells you it comes 10 minutes past 4 or whatever your time exactly is. You see here, obviously we use this sort of modern technology, so you see exactly what's happening. It's fully transparent, much like Uber and so on. You see the vehicle come to you and you know exactly how long it is still taking. We've taken away two, which on the face value sound maybe obvious needs, but we've kind of fulfilled two major needs, which is no more waiting. Nobody likes waiting, even not for 2-hour slots, or whatever it is, and nobody likes paying for delivery. So for the first time, there's an online alternative for a supermarket that is comparable in what it offers and comparable in price. That sounds like a small, simple thing, and it may be a small, simple thing. Here we are. But you'll see in a second it has major implications. This is a little movie that shows you, much better than I can tell it, how it kind of works. With beautiful Dutch subtitles, but I guess you get it. So these little vehicles can only go like 40 kilometers an hour. They never leave a city. But within the city, they are super efficient. About 3 times as efficient as the most efficient distribution system that existed before. Looks like a beautiful Dutch city, you can see that. So, this is what we had 2 years ago. We launched exactly 2 years ago, almost on the day. And we were going to try this out in one city. We had no clue what to expect. We had 4 vehicles ready, and we were going to operate in one sort of mid-sized city, let's say 200,000 inhabitants or something like that. And we told everybody we were launching in that single city. Yet, this is what happened on day one. This is Holland, and there was a massive amount of downloads on just the first day, while we told everyone, listen, we're only in Amersfoort, which is the name of the city. And it became major news in all the newspapers. All the newspapers were opening with big news supermarket kind of coming. We were on the major evening news. We hadn't sold anything, and as of this day, there were 3 supermarkets left. So we were kind of surprised, and something else happened, and maybe that's more of the beauty of the story, or more of the miracle of Picnic. So yes, we have a very efficient system, and yes, that can bring all your groceries very efficiently to your house, and therefore it's affordable, and so on and so forth. But what we had never expected is that things like this would happen. So what we see in communities, in neighborhoods, that people sort of respond massively to what we do. And they are so joyed to see their new modern shape milkman come to their neighborhoods that they're sending us pictures. These are pictures all sent by customers to us. And they go like, children waiting for it, and so on and so forth. So we saw a remarkable change, something that I've never seen in technology, that you literally touch people's lives and bring something better to that neighborhood. And there's a sort of combination between, yes, an efficient technical system, plus a brand and a kind of way of dealing with people that's entirely new. So it's literally the milkman reinvented. People are sending us pictures with their favorite runner, as we call them, which is delivery boy or girl, and they're so happy that somebody comes always on time, always at the same time, is nice, and delivers them the stuff that they need to run their households. This says, you can't read this, but this is in Dutch. It says, thank you, sort of chalked on a wall. I find this remarkable and surprising that people keep on sending us these kind of things. We do other things as well. So customers are clearly deciding what we do. So customers decide also what we sell. So we have a very simple system. If we sell something, if we sell tomatoes, and we have 8 types of tomatoes, and somebody's missing something, you can just type in the app, I would love to have this kind of tomato. And if 5 people in the city ask for the same product, we would list it. A very simple mechanism. We don't need buyers. People literally decide what we sell. As a result of all this kind of thing, we saw customer satisfaction scores that are literally off the charts. A net promoter score of 85 is kind of unheard of in this sector, and I guess anywhere. And on the basis of these results, and on the basis of the enthusiasm of a single city, because in the single city where we started operating 2 years ago, now about 20% of the people are buying with us. And overall, we achieved a market share of 5%, which is super, is unheard of. Before Picnic existed, the online market of the total groceries market was about 1%, as I told you. A year later, when we're in the market, in every city that we operate in, we're 5 times that size. So it is an impact that nobody could have ever foreseen, including ourselves. But it is also clear that we touched a few things right. And obviously there's a million things that we still need to improve. But it's super exciting to work on a model that is entirely new, and that by using all this kind of technology, touches people's lives in a way that they appreciate. And what we see most of this is not so much that we, let's say, steal away customers from the existing Ocado type or Albert Heijn or Tesco or type sort of premium end customers, but that also the teachers and the policemen and the firemen and all these other people that still need to run a household too also have now access to an online service. On the basis of that, half a year ago, we run one of the largest Series B rounds ever done in the world. And we're very proud that people have so much confidence in this model that they're supporting us to help us roll this out. And this is exactly what we're doing. It's now spreading like wildfire, if you want, but slowly in Holland. It's far away from all your cities, but soon I hope we'll be close to you too, and soon I hope you will be seeing what we do. And maybe if you like what we do, we need a lot of people. We're growing about 5 to 10% on a week-to-week basis. So we're working our heads off to get to in as many cities as quick as possible, and that needs a lot of manpower work to be done. So if any of you is in the room and thinks, this is what I love, call me or add me or do something and get in touch. And we need all you. And we have a much bigger dream that is to build the best milkman on earth, or rebuild, I should actually say, the best milkman on earth. So that's what we're up to. Thank you so much.